let's get into it. Double XL Magazine, Complex, Red Bull Music Academy, Special Education Olympics, Shade 45, Brilliant Idiots podcast with Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schulz, and presently Facebook.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you tapped to a lot of the production stuff. So you listed
Oh, and 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
Had to mention that one.
Facts.
That's your baby.
So I'll just go down the line. You know what I mean? So a lot of the early things you mentioned, I did in college. It was a lot of video production, some internships.
Mm-hmm.
One of my good friends actually sent me a link for the opening to the Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schulz Brilliant Idiots podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing some video production for them for a little bit. It was pretty cool to like be around Charlemagne, and his personality is literally what you see on The Breakfast Club is literally his personality in real life. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty dope. Everything else was just like a lot of photography and video gigs. Mm-hmm. The Red Bull Music Academy, that was actually in high school. I covered the concert. My friend had like backstage passes, or like one of her cousins or aunts was like the producer of the concert or something along those lines, and like she brought me along, so I got to shoot. It was Dipset who was like headlining the concert, so I got to shoot like Dipset, which was pretty cool because they were like super popular when I was in high school. And it was in Harlem, so that was so much fun. Currently at Facebook. I miss Shade 45. I'm on the video team for Shade 45.
Okay.
So that's for the heavy hitters with DJ Enough. Every week we have someone different. Who do we have? We've had Wu-Tang, Smoke Perp, Roy Woods was there last week. Rich homie Quan was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a bunch of them. You know, it's like all the other radio shows. All these celebrities come by, and I really help with their social content and video production. Yep.
So when you were growing up, you knew that this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah. So I think like maybe I was like around 8 years old. And I had a bunch of my friends over, and my mom wasn't home, which is probably like really bad now that I think about it. But this is when like the video camera first came out. It used to be not the first when it first came out, but when it went from tape, actually CD to USB.
Those the big huge.
Yeah.
Bulky.
So it went from to having like CDs to USB, where you could just like plug it into your computer and upload the files.
I had one. Yep.
Yeah. So one of my friends, Sarah, she had one of those. And we're like, yo, like, let's make a movie. So, like, at 8 years old, we're, like, running around my house making this pointless movie with no script. And then, like, we sat down and, like, edited the entire sequence together, showed all my family members, had, like, a bunch of screenings. And ever since then, I was like, I truly enjoy the process of taking an idea and making it come to life.
Okay.
So, that's why I call myself, like, the girl who connects the dots, you know. I played basketball. I played college basketball as a point guard.
Oh.
And that's the job of the point guard, you're the playmaker, you know what I mean? You're not necessarily the one always scoring, but you're the one who makes the things happen. So I definitely enjoy putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Wow. Okay. So in college, what was your degree in college?
I did a dual degree in digital media production, digital media management, and programming with a minor in business. Yeah. Fun stuff. Full plate.
Okay. So straight out of college, you started, racking up these camera gigs.
Oh yeah. While I was in college, I started this photography club with someone who I work with at 24 Hours right now, Carlos, called New Paltz Street Photography. And we were just basically like doing all the video production and photography for all of the events on campus.
Okay.
That was fun. We did that for a little bit, but then I started getting involved in some bigger things, so I didn't really have time for it. For example, I became the vice president of programming. So I was in charge of the Spring Fest and like major campus programming. So I organized a concert with Joey Badass, A$AP Ferg, Action Bronson, Janae Aiko.
All huge
yeah,
names.
Some really cool people. It was so much fun. So like that's where most of my time went after I started that club. But and I was getting paid for that too. So that was like hella dope to be doing that in college and getting paid for it. Yeah. So
what made you go like the social media route and now working with Facebook and being their event coordinator?
So I feel like I've always been involved with social media. When you're a content producer, like social media is pretty much your platform.
Yeah.
And then the Facebook gig, I'm going to be honest with you. Like in college, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see myself at like Viacom or one of those, you know, like Viacom or ABC. I did an internship at ABC 7.
Oh, okay.
I was on the production team over there, but I was like, yeah, I can see myself in one of these places. But then I realized, you know, like these social media companies are pretty much changing the game. For example, Facebook. Like, not only do we have like a platform for people to speak their minds, but it's also a news outlet.
Yes,
they just launched Facebook Watch, so now it's also like in a way like a Netflix.
It's everything. You know what I mean? Everything all in one. This one huge platform.
Exactly. Like it owns Instagram, it owns WhatsApp, this super cool like VR company called Oculus. So the social companies, in my opinion, like Facebook or like a Google, are pretty much the top of the top, in my opinion, in ways that you can be involved in so many different aspects instead of just like choosing like one lane, like news or just scripted television. You can pretty much go all over.
When I came to visit, the space is just so open and inviting, and just so many creatives in the whole place, like everywhere.
So what Mark Zuckerberg's idea was, like, you know, when he first started in his house in not first started, but like when he expanded to the house in California where they started doing their operations, you know, it was like an open platform, you know what I mean? Like an open office kind of field. And he basically took that and until where it is right now and kept that entire feel and energy. Like even Mark doesn't have like a special secluded office with a couch or anything. He has a desk like the rest of us. Like it's all just like the managers to the coordinators to the VPs, like everyone just has a desk in this super open space.
Yeah. Yes. The way that it's even like decorated, when you it's like, it looks like a playground to me. It just has this like fun vibe.
He is huge on like just enjoying your job, you know what I mean? There's a lot of perks that goes along with it. Like for example, there's free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah. Which is just insane. There's these micro kitchens, dope. Like snack bars with a bunch of all this candy and all these snacks, coffee, smoothies, you name it. It's just all there, and it's just free. There's
I'm honored to say I got some free breakfast when I came, and it was dope.
I visited the MPK location. MPK is Menlo Park. Okay. And that place is, you thought like the office at New York was crazy. That place is literally a mini city. Wow. They basically like replicated like and made their own mini city. There's buildings of like restaurants. Like they have like restaurants. What? Yeah. They have like restaurants. They have like barbershops.
Goodness.
Like cleaners.
I have to visit that one.
It's insane. Arcade rooms, like arcade buildings actually. Super cool, and it really makes like the job that much more enjoyable. Cause like, you know, as long as you're being efficient, you're getting your work done. Like what's all this hard work with no play?
True. Yeah. So what are your responsibilities there?
So I'm on the events team. So I handle the internal events. So I basically manage all of the event spaces, and I connect the dots for other teams. For example, if Instagram does a lot of things with music. So if they're hosting some kind of like music series or doing like a Grammys event or something along those lines, I'd pretty much just facilitate them in how to have them produce an event at Facebook itself, like anything on site. Okay. And then outside of like coordinating that, I plan retail food and experience pop-ups. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's fun.
So what's like an example of that? Did you have one recently?
So an experience pop-up, I guess, would be, I had this photo booth called Selfie, and it's basically an edible photo booth. So basically people came, got their pictures taken, and they printed them on lattes and cookies, which is really cool. So like I titled it like Eat Your Face Out, something like that.
That's creative.
Yeah, so that's like an example of
that's epic.
Yeah, an experience pop-up. And I also did this like vendor market. I got like maybe I think 18 vendors of all different kinds during the holidays to kind of like promote like gift giving and stuff along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, fun stuff.
So do you face any challenges when you set up these events?
You know, yeah, I would say there's a lot of parts to it. there's a lot of small things that really matter. People may overlook it. So it's really just making sure you have all the pieces of the puzzle put together. I guess that's like the most challenging part, because I support, I think, an office of over 1,000 people. So when you're supporting that many people, you tend to miss some things sometimes. So I guess the most challenging thing is just making sure that you're on point when you're supporting over 1,000 people and events every single day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I want to delve into 24 hours. How did you come up with the name? And
okay, so fun story. I've been going back and forth with different production names for the longest. I did this internship with this celebrity photographer, Daniel Perry. I hope he doesn't see this. But so he came up with this idea of like this studio. I'm going to give it a different name just in case he's still like pondering on the idea. So he had this name of this studio, and I love the name of it. I was like, oh man, this is so good. You know what? He's never going to pursue this idea. I'm going to take it. So I took the idea. I literally took the idea, got it trademarked, right? Paid to get it trademarked. Bought some equipment, asked my older brother for some investment. I think I asked him for a $1,000 investment so I can pay for some like legal fees or whatever. And then as I'm like getting close to it, I'm telling everyone, is like, oh yeah, this name is so dope. This is the future. Like, this is going to be so lit. And I'm like, hell yeah, like it's going to be amazing. And like I woke up the next day and I was like, I feel like a shitty person. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to steal someone's idea. Yeah. And it's like, I completely threw it out the window. I like released the trademark. I like a refund from the legal fees or whatever. And I was like, all right, I'm going to sleep on this for a little bit. Couldn't find a name for the longest, so I was just going by Goldie Harris for everything. Like all my music videos I direct, it was Goldie Harris. All my events.
Well, your name is pretty dope.
Yeah, right. So it was like everything was like Goldie Harris, and then like a part of me was just like, all right, I want to build a team, but I don't want to be like imagine if like Mark Zuckerberg named Facebook the Zuckerberg or something. You know what I mean? It's like I want
having to be.
You know what I mean? I wanted something that everyone could relate to. I wanted it to be a movement, a family, like. Instead of it just being like Goldie Harris on everything, like I think we're all a little conceited or like into ourselves, but I'm just not that into myself. You know what I mean?
That's probably why Diddy made Revolt, because I mean he has things under his name already.
Exactly.
So I was like, all right, I got to do something different.
So I was brainstorming with my friend Ariel, who's an amazing writer, and one day she texted me. She's like, "Yo, 24 hours," and she sent that to me, and like without her even explaining it, I completely understood, because it's something that I've preached all the time. It's just like, we all get 24 hours in a day. Yes. We get the same amount of time as Pharrell, as Oprah, as Beyonce. Crazy. And it's just like, if there's one thing that, there's no disadvantage, it's like, listen, we all get the same amount of time. It's like, how are you going to, like, what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you doing? So we like dropped the H, and it was like hours. Like, basically, we're going to take advantage of every single day, whether it's creating something, you're plotting, you're brainstorming, or you're just generally finding happiness, whatever it is. Just like each day you need to claim it and just make sure you're doing something great. So that's where that came from. So we started using that as an alias for all of our music videos, because a few of us will work on it, and it's like, you know what, we'll just all just put the one name, 24 hours, although a bunch of us are working on it. We'll just keep it simple. People won't really know who 24 hours is. And we thought like that'd be a really dope idea. And then very shortly, like things just started moving really fast. We started doing events and concerts. Like we got the opportunity to produce an unofficial showcase in Atlanta during A3C. We're going to be producing a lot more events. Okay. I got it LLC, so like we're managing a few artists under the name, and hopefully like it already is a media house, and now we added the brick and mortar aspect to it with our studio. So so that's 24 hours. I love it. My baby.
So tell me about the Wonder Woman event.
Okay, so yes. 24 hours. So I did an event with Frat House, funded by one of my boys, Peter. And we did a series. It was just an event. It was like a one-off event at one point. It was like the Wonder Woman series presented by 24 Hours or whatever. And Frat House. And we did it with Wolf Tyler. We had Miss Milan. We had Shy Daughter. And a few other DJs on the bill. And the party was just a huge success. We had so many like it kids come out and like party with us. It was so much fun. And then we kind of like slept on it for a little bit, and then Peter had hit me up again, like, you know, he wants to reactivate it. Yeah. So now we're taking it, we're literally stripping all of our names off of it, instead of like saying it's presented by 24 Hours or Frat House or whoever it is, and it's just gonna stand alone as the Wonder Woman series. Okay. Kind of like the Everyday People brunches, things like that. Like, we just want it to stand on its own. So it's basically a platform, an event series to support women. That's it. Yeah, and just show your appreciation for women, in all of its different forms. We're going to do some panels. We're hoping to figure out how to do some kind of like spa influence kind of events. But right now we have like a bi-monthly residency at Kinfolk. Okay. So we're taking advantage of that. Hopefully we want to throw a really huge benefit concert and book like some really great artists. We're actually working on it right now. Can't really speak too much on it because nothing's really solidified. But so that's the Wonder Woman series. It's really just a woman appreciation event series. Each event we like to figure out on an organization, and we give donations, and we collect donations on behalf of that organization.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really dope. So why is entrepreneurship important to you?
It's important because I think you should own what you labor. I grew up, both of my parents were entrepreneurs. My mom was like one of the most creative and hardest working women I've ever met. And just the idea of, you know, like living your own life or living your own dream. You know, you can either create your own life or create your own job or work for someone else. Not saying that everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. It's cool. But like, if you have that passion to like create, and sometimes when you're working for someone else, it's their idea. Yes. You know what I mean? You're helping them with their idea. Yeah. And if you have a certain vision, I just suggest that I'd rather try than fail than to not try at all. So that's why I think entrepreneurship is really important, because you should really own what you labor.
Yes. Yeah. So do you think that entrepreneurship amongst women is really is a major thing right now?
Huge, 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 because it was never a thing for us. Yeah. They didn't see us as business women.
No, they didn't see us as bosses.
They didn't see us as bosses, you know what I mean? There's like a thin line, like, oh, she's a boss, or no, she's a bitch. And it's just like, no, it's like these stereotypes, it's like we're shattering them. And I think it's super important, because I think women get the job done, and they get it done well. You know what I mean? I'm just so happy to see so many women, but like so many Black women just really doing their own thing and starting their own businesses. And obviously social media has played like a huge part in like giving people that platform. Yes. And then once you see someone else do it, you're like, all right, maybe I can do it too. And it's just like this domino effect, this chain reaction. It's just like, why not? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm reading this book by T.D. Jakes right now, and he keeps plugging women entrepreneurs, and I'm just like, whoa. Yeah. Like, he's not mentioning men at all. It's just like, okay, so, you know, he's seeing this must be like, I mean, when I think about that, I think, of course, about like, you know, Oprah. Yes. I think
absolutely. Okay, I totally have to acknowledge Oprah, of course.
This is like later on, like after she, you know, did her talk show, after she became, you know, huge because of that, then she was able to, you know, build her own brand off of that and kind of separate herself from the talk show, and then do her own thing with OWN and stuff like that. So I feel like we kind of got to see those different levels. And
Oprah's amazing. She's also just like one person, you know what I mean?
She's one person.
Like that's like, yo, there needs to be so many more. But yeah. Definitely amazing.
Yeah, we're coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
Young women who are doing big things like yourself.
Thank you. Young Oprah out here.
Yes. So have you ever found difficulty in maintaining your own brand, maintaining your own businesses while working with, you know, these other huge companies, but the main huge company you're working with, Facebook?
For sure. With every company I've worked with, it's hard too, because like as a person myself, like I'm an event producer, I'm a music video director. Like,
you have a lot of titles.
I have a lot of titles. I'm really creative, and I'm also like a really cool personality. Yeah, toot my own horn, but
you are.
But sometimes when you're in these corporations, you're there. They pay you to play a certain role. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not paying me to be
yourself,
to be myself, or be creative. It's like, no, I need this job done, so this is what we're paying you to get done.
Exactly.
So for sure, like, you got to compromise a part of who you are, especially when you're working in a corporate world. Like, for example, like some of the video production I do, like, I'm just on set, you know what I mean? I'm just on set and I'm just doing what I gotta do and I'm out of here. It has nothing to do with who Goldie Harris is. It has nothing to do with 24 hours. But I think to myself, you know what? I gotta work hard outside of this. So then when they notice, they're just like, oh wow, like who is this? Who is this? Who is this? What brand is this? What, you know, collective is this? Yeah. So you gotta kind of create your own buzz for people to see.
So you find yourself often maybe doing things that have nothing to do with necessarily like monetarily.
Yes,
because that's one major thing that I found. I guess helpful to know that okay, certain things that I'm doing I may not get paid for. Yeah. But
as a creative, you have to accept you're gonna do a lot of things for free. Because that's just how it is. Like, that's just how it is on so many different levels. When you're in college, these internships, most of them you're not getting paid for. And then even when you're out, it's just like, there's so many things that you got to do. You got to do this free gig to show them what you're capable of doing.
Exactly.
And you got to keep going in the future. Then you can start talking like numbers and checks and so forth. But definitely as a creative, you're going to do a lot of free stuff. Yeah. For sure.
I found that it hasn't been hard for me to accept that. It's been hard for like my parents. Like, so you're doing what for free? Yeah. It's like they're starting to understand now, but in the beginning it was just like, okay, but you went to school for this. Why are you doing this for free? Like,
so you know, that delves back into entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? Like you start your own company, you're obviously going to be working for free, but guess who you're working for? Yourself. You're working for yourself. You're building your vision. Yeah. Until you start making those checks and, you know, making some trips to the bank or whatever. But super important. That's just super important.
Do you ever have those moments where you're just having a moment to yourself? You got to reassess what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, what are you exactly doing this for? You know, what's the outcome going to be? It's like one of those moments where I wouldn't necessarily call it depression, but you're just like in your head. What do you do when you're in your head?
Okay. I find myself doing that a lot more than I think people would assume. Like when you're running your own company, when you're putting yourself out there, because running your own company, you're making yourself really vulnerable for failure. Yes. You know what I mean? And as a creative, like you have to work so hard just to be noticed. You got to work for free, like so much. So of course there's some times where like I look at other people or like other like positions or jobs out there and I'm just like, damn, I could have just like settled for like a salary or a security, like, you know what I mean?
But would you be happy is the question.
Exactly. So then I always think like, what am I doing this? What makes me happy? And I definitely am the type of person to sit there and write out like, what's my game plan? Yeah. Just to remind myself, because you can get caught up when you're doing so many different things. You can get caught up. You can lose sight of which direction you're going in. But as long as you keep track of the goal, it's okay to like, you know, you're driving, or it's okay to like make a right sometimes or reverse, take a few steps back to make sure you're going in the right direction. So I definitely find myself in that position a lot, like figuring out like, let me reassess myself. Why am I doing this again? Yeah. What are my goals? Like what makes me happy? Absolutely. So I think people should do that often.
Yeah. So you would give like, say that's like a good tool, like an advice.
100%. Like a lot of people, when they feel confused, that's when they go to it, like they're kind of like trying to figure out like what they're doing. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, you know. You just have to check yourself. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta like people like you gotta check in with your friends.
Something that was a piece of the sermon today in church. Yeah. Checking yourself, and you know, it's like you gotta check in with yourself sometimes. Like, okay, am I okay? Cool.
Because it's so easy to just like to get lost. It's so easy to settle. It is. You know what I mean? It is. I had a job before Facebook that I just jumped into right out of college because I needed some money or whatever. And then like, it was like for a real estate firm, but I was like the director of lifestyle services and events, which is fun because I'm planning a bunch of like cool, ritzy events. But I was working in real estate, right? And they started like having me do some like real estate stuff, like give some leasing tours and stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I giving leasing tours? I was like, but you know, the paychecks are good. And I had to check myself. I'm just like, what do you want to do? I'm writing down what I do, and I'm writing down what I want to do, and then I'm looking at what I'm doing, and it's not matching up. You know what I mean? It's like, is what I'm doing helping me go into the direction that I need to be going into? I was like, it's not. So I left. I had to get out of there.
You know, watching a lot of documentaries about these, you know, people who had big corporations. There's a lot of stories like that. It's like I had to leave this job, I had to leave that job, and in the beginning, it's like, what the heck did I just do?
Because I feel like I was talking to one of my friends. It's like, you know, like in high school and college, we like dream of like working in these jobs and these corporations until you get there. And I believe like life is like kind of like a mountain. I don't know if you guys ever been hiking or mountain climbing or something along the lines, but the higher you get, the more mountains you see. You know what I mean? So it's just like the higher you get, you realize, yo, I can go even higher than what I thought when I was at the bottom. So
you're preaching right now. I feel it.
I'm a huge believer in leveling up. So like you get to these corporations and you realize, yo, I want more out of life, then go get it. It's as simple as that. If you want more out of life, go get it.
24 hours, it's yours.
Exactly.
So for someone who is seeking the kind of position that you have, being an event coordinator at a huge corporation like Facebook, what would you say that they should do?
Okay, so
how do they go about, you know?
Okay, so I like this question because a lot of people go to college, right? And get degrees and think, yo, I have a degree, so I'm certified. I can just get any job that I want. But like, you got to understand that college is just a tool to build your empire. So if you're getting a degree, what exactly are you using your experience in college to do? Like while I was in college, I made sure I was involved in a bunch of different orgs. I'm like, you know, I'm going to learn as much shit as I possibly can outside of the classroom because I'm on this campus. I have all these resources around me. Why not use them? Because there is someone, what's the quote that my coach used to use during basketball? Like, there's always someone working harder than you. And you always have to remember that. Like, it's a really competitive field.
It is.
So if you can look back in college and be like, you know what? I literally gave my undergrad or my grad experience all that I could. I got involved as much as I can, like that I can handle emotionally and mentally. Then all right, you're gonna be fine.
And college is so different from elementary school, junior high school, and high school because no one is telling you really what they're not coming to you and you got to do this.
Exactly.
Yes, you have, you know, advisors and stuff like that, but you have to go to them and speak to them.
I made sure every like professional that would come on campus, that I had some kind of interest in what they were doing, I'd talk to them. Like, how did you get here? Like,
see, I was super duper shy and I was still trying to figure it out. It's like, what do I want to do in this? And I was still trying to figure it out, but I think maybe like my last year, I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm about to be out of here. I need to figure out exactly what I want to do and how I want to go about it. You know? So,
like, if you want to be a filmmaker, start hanging out with filmmakers. You want to be a journalist, start hanging out with journalists. Like, and also something really important to mention is, like, you don't have to go to college. Like, college is not for everyone. Like, there are some really successful people out there who has never went to college. I have coworkers at Facebook without college degrees. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you know, that's dope. I look at them like, you know, that's dope because that means.
You know what? It's a real yesteryear state of mind when it's like, you have to go to school to do this, but the kind of jobs that are available now, you know, things to do with social media, it's not necessarily that you have to go to school for that. But if you have experience and you have a platform, you have followers, that's a major thing now.
So you have a goal, you want to be something, find someone else who's in that field or find someone that you look up to, study that person, be around people like that. Like I said, you want to be a photographer, hang out with photographers, study some of the world's greatest photographers, do your research, put in the work that these companies that you want to work for needs. Even if it's you creating your own videos, your own reels, your own portfolios, even if you're not necessarily doing like commissioned or client-based work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to work for like a Netflix, they want to see a short film, create your own short film so you can show them what you're capable of doing. You have to prove yourself. So I'd say that, prove yourself in any which way you possibly can.
So for your fans that are out there watching your every move, what should they stay tuned for? What's coming up next?
My fans. Wow. Fans.
Yeah.
Supporters. Okay. So the people who believe in me, definitely stay tuned for what 24 hours is going to turn into. And the ragers that are about to take place. I haven't had like a party of like, I guess, my aesthetic in a really long time, because I've been really busy with all the business things. Yeah. But just bringing like that vibe back, definitely diving more heavily into music, not making my own music, but music business.
Yes. I see that you are with a lot of artists.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy I manage 2 artists right now, and they're both really dope and talented. Dante's one of them. Instagram at don't8 Dante. Check out his music. Yeah. But I really enjoy that. Because music is such a cool and impactful vehicle to influence the world.
It is.
So I like being a part of it. You know, like I've done concerts, I've done events, and the main reason all these things are so successful is because of music. People come out for music. Even if you don't think about it, they come out for music. Yeah. So
all of it goes hand in hand.
Exactly. So definitely people should definitely look forward to. I'm sorry, I just said definitely like 5 times. People should really people should look forward to what 24 Hours has in store for 2018. It's going to be really amazing.
So your Instagram, Goldie.
It's at Goldie Harris, Goldie. Some people spell it with a Y, but it's Goldie Harris, Harris, and 24hours.co. So it's the number 24OURS.co, 24hours.co.
You guys have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for sitting down with me. I learned so much. I really did. I think people are going to take some really good stuff from everything that you just said.
I hope so. I really hope so.
All right. So that was End All That Jazz with Dana.
Peace.
Peace out.